Piyush Goyal now joins us, Minister for Commerce and Industry, and the conversation, Minister Goyal, in the studio is about achieving the target of a Viksit Bharat by 2047. The question was about whether there is a definite sense of what the definition of a Viksit Bharat is and the level of confidence in government to be able to achieve that target by 2047. Before this, no government in India has spoken about making India a developed country in a fixed time frame. This target being laid out for the first time. So the question around how do you define what Viksit Bharat looks like and what's the roadmap to get there? Let's start from there. Minister Goyal, welcome.
Thank you, Rahul. And I'm sure as a business editor also of Business Today, you jolly well know that no plan can ever be achieved unless you have a target, you have a vision to achieve that target, and you have a roadmap how you're going to get there and a commitment to achieve that. And I would think it's always good to work to a plan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has steadfastly, whether as Chief Minister of Gujarat or as the Prime Minister of India, always worked very sincerely in every project that he took up with a commitment to achieve results, a focused effort, huge amount of monitoring, holding people responsible for performance, transparency in his work, technology as the backbone of whatever actions he takes, innovative ideas being implemented on the ground, and saturation without any discrimination so that every section of society rises as the country grows. And I think that's the calling card of Prime Minister Modi. 10 years of consistent good governance, 10 years of improving the lives of the poor, 10 years taking the country from fragile 5, which we inherited, high interest rates, high inflation, low foreign currency reserves, very poor morale of the people, daily corruption scandals, high cost borrowings even to sustain the rupee with foreign exchange loans being taken. From that situation to 2024, where we have a strong foundation on the back of which we can aspire to be a developed nation. The roadmap is clear, the foundation is in place, the vision is crystal clear, and India will be a developed nation. India will be able to take care of its people. India will be able to provide opportunities to 1.4 billion Indians. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind. And I think the nation today trusts that Modi hai, to mumkin hai.
I want to get you to take our viewers through your outlook for exports and imports. And on the budget intelligence dashboard, I just want to show our viewers where things stand at this moment, and then the minister can take us through what he anticipates will happen in the next year, given especially all the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing and the multiple crises, Russia, Ukraine, in the Middle East. So here is exports. I look at total exports to begin with, 776.5 billion in FY23. Till December, 565 billion. If I look in particular at services, services exports, here's the graph coming up from the last 5 years, 325 billion in the last fiscal at 247.9 till December 23. I look at imports just for a moment, and I look at total imports to begin with. As far as total imports are concerned, 896.1 billion in the last fiscal, standing at 634.4 billion till December 23. So let's start with exports, Minister Goyal. Given all the tensions internationally and the move away from hyper-globalization, your outlook on India's export story?
First of all, I think your figures need to be corrected. Your services figure for December may not be exactly the right figure. You may like to check that out, point one. Because the December figure has not come out also as yet in the public domain. I think we'll have to wait till you get the exact figure. But having said that, irrespective, by and large, despite all the geopolitical tensions internationally, despite the Red Sea crisis that we are facing right now, our exports of goods and services is roughly flat. We are about $10 billion short as of December. In terms of trade deficit, we've seen a significant improvement as of December. From a trade deficit of over $108 billion, we are, I think, down to somewhere around $65 billion. So I think the situation after the scorching pace of growth of 2 years, where we grew from 490 to 776, which is a 55% growth in only 2 years. It's not really practical to expect that same scorching pace of growth year on year. And I think despite this troubled global geopolitical situation, where we are today looks to be a very good sweet spot for the country. And I'm very confident that we are well on target to go to $2 trillion by 2030.
$2 trillion by 2030, you're saying. I want to draw you into the social sectors. One of the critiques the opposition is flinging your way, Minister Goyal, is about how there is a lot of spending happening on public infrastructure, but their charge is that education and healthcare as a percentage of GDP are receiving lesser outlays than in the past. Their accusation is that on these social sectors, not enough emphasis is being made. How do you respond to that, Minister?
Well, I think it's so sad that some of my friends in the opposition cannot see the reality on the ground. Of course, in terms of the fast pace at which the size of the budget has grown, the percentages are not as important as the absolute number. And in absolute number on every one of the sectors, we see significant growth, point one. Point two, in terms of social spending or welfare spending, I think what this government has done in 10 years is unprecedented. When you had governments which came and went, they never could see that people of India, especially the women, deserve toilets in their home. 110 million toilets have been built so that every home gets a toilet. People would see, I would see my own grandmother cooking on a smoke chula from morning till night. But somehow governments could never recognize and respect the need for everybody to get a cooking gas connection. We made sure that 100 million homes got a free cooking gas connection under Ujjwala, and many more in the regular non-Ujjwala category also. Whether it's 40 million homes being built for the poor, effectively 200 million people getting a good pakka home, and these 40 million families in a way becoming lakpatis, or it is 800 million people being given free food grains. I mean, I can list out a plethora of schemes. Almost 600 million people getting free healthcare. The fact that healthcare facilities during COVID were upgraded across the country, and now we have so many more medical colleges, so many more medical seats, so many more engineering colleges, AIIMS. I mean, the entire country's ecosystem, which will help India become a developed nation, has been given a big fillip in the last 10 years, along with maintaining fiscal prudence. We had planned for 5.9% of the GDP as fiscal deficit. We are at 5.8. So in every respect, this government has demonstrated resilience, has been able to withstand global shocks, and has been able to balance Garib Kalyan, Sushasana, and economic prosperity.
You know, incidentally, I want to remind our viewers that Minister Piyush Goyal was the interim finance minister in 2019 when the last Modi government presented the budget weeks before elections. And if you remember, at that time, there was the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, which came out with an annual expenditure outlay of 75,000 crore rupees, a full tax rebate to those having a taxable income up to 5 lakh rupees. Standard deduction was raised from 40,000 to 50,000. Several measures were taken, none of which have been seen this time round. Is that at some level, Minister Goyal suggested that this government is highly confident we'll be back in July. Abhi karne ki koi zarurat nahi hai. You had presented soon after the BJP was defeated in 3 state elections in the Hindi heartland. So the government at that time potentially was under more pressure. Now you're feeling more confident that, okay, once we come back in July, tab dekhte abhi we don't need to press any panic button or open any populist purse string.
Rahul, first of all, I'll just correct you. The PM Kisan Samman Nidhi was a part of our spending in the then current year, 18-19 itself. So it was launched from December of 18 within the resources of the 18-19 year, and therefore it was, maybe it was announced in the interim budget, but it was a part of a decision taken for the then current year, and resources had been provided for that. So I don't think that the interim budget made too many changes. There were a few changes, some simplifications. Even the 5 lakh scheme, if you recall, was a measure of simplification so that the people get a simplified tax regime also with some benefits. So I think the effort has always been and consistently been to take benefits to the people of India. The form of benefit may change. So this time around, the investment of 11,000 crores on infrastructure is going to provide huge benefit to the middle class, to the common man. After all, it provides opportunities and demand for goods, for services. It provides work opportunities for millions and millions of people. At least a third of that money goes straight into people's hand as wages and salaries. So nearly 2 crore families will benefit directly from that 11 lakh crore rupee investment. Apart from that, the multiplier impact of infrastructure investing. So you'll have steel, cement, electricals, furniture, carpets, all sorts of things. Jobs being created in that. These people who get work or jobs also becoming consumers. So demand again growing. So Make in India getting a fillip. With greater Make in India, greater economies of scale, we become competitive in the international market. PLI supplements that. So it's a very holistic planning that Mr. Modi does, and it is that holistic planning which will make India a developed nation, rest assured.